Three, two, one. Hey everybody, this is Victor. I am here with Monsaur, and we're going to be talking about his story when it comes to real estate flipping, how Monsaur went from a couple condo rentals to making six figures flipping houses. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for having me, Victor. Appreciate the call, the invite. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad
Great.
like you can join, and I'm glad you could share your story. You have a hell of a story, and you've seen massive success, so I'm happy to share that with everyone as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cool.
And would like to share that as well. So go ahead.
Perfect. Well, let's start with this. Like, what's your background?
My background's in healthcare. I've been doing business for the last, I would say 12 years now. Home health. I used to have a home health, kind of got rid of that. Had a successful exit. I got it. I still have my home care that's operational, and we are pending license for hospice right now, which that's going to happen any week.
Oh, wow.
So I've stayed in the healthcare realm and my whole life, actually.
Okay, so you've been doing healthcare for a while, and then the real estate stuff is on the side, just part-time, kind of less.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's part time, but it brings in so much revenue, and it's
Mhm.
like, do I want to do a little more real estate than like business and clocking in and stuff like that? With your education and guidance, I've learned a lot. So
Mhm.
I mean, we'll get to that point, but it's just like I'm starting to see the progress and the value in flipping versus what I was dabbling into myself in rentals, and I'm shifting gears here.
So-
Um,
Okay, so you're shifting gears. Okay, and then you're doing the full time and then doing this on the side. Okay. Well, before we met and before we got started working together, like what were some of your struggles, or what were some of the things you were running into with real estate in general and flipping?
it's a good question. I actually started before I met you. I bought real estate every time I had like extra cash. I invested in condos, and I was thinking rentals was the right way to go, and then the more I did it, the more I realized I made a terrible fucking mistake. I'm sorry for my
Fair.
language, but
No, you're
it
good.
was just terrible. It was
Yeah.
terrible. um, I invested into these condos. I had four. I sold two. I still have two left, which I'm trying to get rid of.
Mhm.
I was making a passive income about 150, 200 a month, and it just didn't make any sense because every week, every other week, there was a problem with the condo. I'd have to
Mhm.
fix it. I just didn't want to be a landlord anymore. It was just the headache, and even getting property managers and things like that. That costs money. That takes away from your bottom line. And mistakes that I've made buying into condos, which I would like to talk about. And so
Yeah,
if people are looking
please.
into that, it's really understand your bottom line, understand what you're getting into with the HOA fees. I was blindsided by HOA fees, and some of the times it costs more than your fucking mortgage, and it's crazy. And these are the newbie mistakes that you make in real estate, coming into this, not really knowing, and I went in making very costly mistakes. And when the things that you taught me and the things that I've learned from you have shifted everything. Now I'm in it to make a profit, and like every house, like I know what I'm getting into. I have my margins set already. I understand what I'm doing. Another mistake is a lot of people would make, or I made initially, was going into a house thinking everything is going to be perfect. Like, oh, this doesn't look too bad. I can rough estimate $5,000. It'll be okay. And then next thing you know, the HVAC system is fucking shit. The roof is leaking. The bathroom's leaking. Everything's leaking. It's a $15,000 mess.
Mhm.
Always get a professional inspector. Always. It's a couple $100s. It was stupid of me, but I can see other people making the same mistake.
Mhm.
Um, so that's a valuable thing I want to mention. Really, when you're doing this, make sure to do that. Have that ready. Have your people ready.
That was one of the
But
things. Oh
yeah,
no, go ahead. Sorry, didn't want to cut
but
you
no,
off.
I was just gonna say a lot more success, a lot more success. Making 200 a month in passive income, or making $30,000 on one flip.
Mhm.
It's easy to make six figures. You're doing 3 to 4 flips a month. Not
A
everything's gonna
year.
be
Yeah.
30,000. So don't. Yeah, I'm sorry, a year.
No, you're good.
Not everything's gonna be $30,000. You're not gonna make 30,000 on every flip. You might make 15, might make 20, but I know where I want to be, and that's what I specifically look for. 25 and up is ideal. That's my margin. That's where, those are the houses I want to target. So I guess everybody could be different, right?
Everyone has different numbers, but I can relate
Yeah.
in terms of the rental stuff, because it's like, let's say you cash flow 200, 300 a month, but that's if
Hmm.
everything goes right. If they pay on time, if there's no maintenance issues, if you have like an eviction or a tenant that doesn't pay, I mean, you're
Oh,
losing money.
God.
So I've been there,
I'm glad that
unfortunately.
you brought that up. I'm glad that you brought that up. The paying on time. That's another thing, man.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, I don't want to get into that, but
Okay.
yeah, you don't want to have to deal with it. You just don't want to have to deal with
Yeah, I hit a sore spot, I guess, huh?
that.
So,
As a
okay.
landlord, any landlord, I'm sure they've tried it or they've
Mhm.
experienced that pain in the ass problem, but not for me, not anymore.
Not anymore. No, I like the idea, like selling your condos, just doing the flipping, and
Yeah.
like you said, like six figures is super attainable. Like six figures rental
It
portfolio
is.
income would be insane. You need hundreds of units, but for
It
flipping, like
is.
3, 4 a year, that's like one every other month, one every
Even
third
if you're
month.
conservative,
Yeah.
and say that's 5 or 6 flips,
Hmm.
it's still very achievable
Yep.
on a part-time basis. Like myself, I don't do it full time. I don't. I have businesses to operate. It's a part-time gig. It's I was able to build relationships with a group of people who know how to fix houses.
Hmm.
So I would say that's my crew. You establish your crew, you find the house, you get your inspector, you do your numbers. If it makes sense, you make the fucking purchase. Don't wait. Put the bid in.
Spot on. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where you were before, like doing some condo rentals. Hadn't really done any flips. So you just gone to flips. Now you really want to focus on the flips. You like the income, so on and so forth. Don't like the hassle of being a landlord. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about like some of the flips you're working on, or like some of the lessons you've learned as you're doing flips. I'd love to talk about like where you're at now.
Sure, sure. No, I have two pending contracts right now,
Okay.
two houses under contract, and we're estimating anywhere from 26 to 32,000 on each one. Again, that's my number. That's what I look for.
Net profit. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, net profit, net profit. Okay, and mind you, these are the things that you want to know when you're getting into a house. You want to know what you're going to spend. So those two are under contract, expecting to close. I would say about August. Yeah, August 15th, August 25th, something like that.
Yeah.
And then a month to fix, get it back on the market and sell it. I mean, the houses also have been selling pretty quickly, so it is a
Yeah.
buyer's market. It's a buyer's market right now. So I was listing houses and I would get full asking price, man. And it's crazy. It's full asking price, sometimes even more than what you're asking for. So that means it's time to buy, right?
Hmm.
Or time to sell, buy and sell. And so with those two I have, and then I still have two renters are still there. We are trying to get them out.
Hmm.
Because with COVID and everything, it's a sensitive time. We can't you can't evict anybody, and nor do I want to. I'm not that type of person, but they're paying rent and stuff. We offered cash for keys. We've given them incentives to leave the lease early, but we're also going to give them a little bit more time to find the appropriate place for them. So yeah, I'll be listing those as well. So I'll have 0 rentals left.
So 0 rentals. Okay. And then you're going to be focusing on the flips. Okay. And then so you
Mhm.
say 2 pending, like you're in the process of buying 2 more from what
Yeah,
it's.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And put it this way, I always want to have something pending. Okay,
Hmm.
once I buy these two groups will be working on it, and I want to find another one. I'm at the
Oh, yeah.
position where I can do that. And not everybody can say, oh well, I have all that. They don't. Not everybody has that kind of cash flow, but I built to that. So I haven't spent any of the money that I've made in real estate in flipping. I've put
Hmm.
in the bank, and I'm not, instead of buying one at a time, I'm able to buy two at a time. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And I continue to recycle the same amount of money, the same profits I've been using. And so now I always want to have something pending. That's just
Hmm.
how I look at it.
Well, that's a good insight as well. And then I think the other thing is important. Like, I don't think you start out that way. Like, you've been doing this, I think, like 18 months, something like that. And like, you didn't
Yeah,
start out, you started at one at a time. And then
one
now
at a
you're at that
time.
level.
Yeah, yeah, one at a time. I actually had a lot invested because I was only doing rentals, only.
Hmm.
And then when I started unloading some of these houses and selling them, I just realized, well, this is better. After learning and being educated by you and reading your material, it made more sense. this is where I want to go. I
Mhm.
want to make money faster and do bigger things with it and continue to do it at a good speed versus, hey, oh, I'm gonna save and wait till I have 100 homes, and I'll be fucking dead by then. I'll be honest.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
I'd rather make $1 million in 8 to 10 years and just doing this part-time gig that I never even touch. I just continue to recycle and buy more houses
Mhm.
versus investing everything into rentals. And then you have that one big problem that costed you 10 grand and your whole year's profit's gone. And you just,
Yeah.
you just lose your mind, man. And it's happened. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's experienced that. I'm not, I can't.
I don't think you
But
are.
yeah,
Like a roof is 10 grand, or like, plumbing
yeah,
issue, HVAC, anything like that. Like, oh, new flooring or
yeah,
new kitchen. It's like, suddenly it's a big, big expense you have to deal with.
yeah, yeah. And again, this is really just, to me, it's so much more fun than anything I'm doing. I
Hmm.
enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the before and after. I enjoy being able to provide a good home to a family that wants it. It's cool. It really is.
Hmm.
And you make a lot of money doing it.
There we
So
go. I can't be mad at the big checks. Yeah.
yeah,
I always liked the elegance of a flip versus a rental. Like with
yeah.
a flip, you have a before and it's shitty, it's not so nice, and then you have an after and it's really nice, and then it's sold, big check in
Oh, I
hand,
should
move
show
on.
you some pictures. It'd be really good. It'd be really good. Next time, I'll show you some pictures
Next
of some
time, yeah,
before and
absolutely.
afters. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm into it. So that's where you're at now. I mean, from your perspective, you sound pretty like you enjoy what you're doing with the flipping. Like it sounds like you have a good outlook. Like you want to do more flipping. Like you've been successful there. And you just want to keep it going, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I like it. I do. I like it. I don't know where it's gonna take me. I don't know what I want to do next. Maybe some multi-unit, some bigger style flips. But right now, I'm smooth sailing with this process. I don't.
Mhm.
There's really no need to change it. I can speed it up, and that's what I'm trying to do now. Is
Mhm.
maybe buy a little bit more at a time. Um, and mind you, you don't need a lot of money to start. You don't. It's people say, well, I don't have the capital. I can't afford it. You don't need that much, man. And there's other ways to do things. There's hard money lenders, things like that, where it doesn't have to come out of your pocket. You do need credit. So if you don't have credit, you're shit out of luck. You gotta have that, man. And be mindful. Make sure you're always taking care of your credit because that's everything in this business.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think my first purchase only costed like, I shouldn't say only because it is a good amount of money. It was like $12,000, but and that
12,000 down.
sale
Sorry to
down
cut you off. Like
12,000
12,000.
down.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And then we used a fix and flip loan, so they gave me the money to rehab the house. All right, so that didn't come out of my pocket. 12,000 for the house. I got the money for the rehab, and I sold it. And I believe I made for this one. This one, my first one, I didn't make too much. It was like 17,000 net. Okay,
Mhm.
so now I had my 12 plus my 17. I'm almost at 30,000, right? So I
Yep.
had the 30,000, almost tripled my money. And then I bought two houses, and then now I'm buying two houses at a time. I think we had a total of 9 houses that we've sold in the year. So that's not bad. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, we've discussed it at
Or
length,
8,
and then I keep
something like
keep
that.
on keep tabs on your progress. So I think about 8 is so
Yeah.
far. I think it's like it's been a lot. Like you're doing really good volume for sure. And for your
Yeah.
first point, like 12 grand down into a deal, and you got back 17. Like first off, that's awesome. And then
Yeah.
second off, it's really, especially with hard money and other creative options, like 12 grand. Like you can find 12 grand, or you probably know someone who has 12 grand. So it's very accessible. Like
Very, very.
look at your list of Facebook friends. Like you can put together 12 grand probably
Hey,
pretty,
bro,
pretty
get
easily.
12 people, borrow $1,000
That's
from each
right.
guy. And be like, I'll pay you 5% interest. I'll pay you 10%
There
interest.
we go.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna make some fucking money for everybody.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's not. It really isn't that hard. And I always feel that people are so afraid to take a chance, but fear often prevents you from making the best decisions of your life. Just fucking do it. Just try it, man. You're like,
Mhm.
all right, you did it, and then reap the benefits and find out how to do it better. But don't ever be afraid to do things. That's what I would,
Mhm.
really, really like to tell whoever's watching this. Don't be afraid.
No, that's really good. So with that in mind, like, would you recommend someone work with me?
Oh, absolutely. Before I met you, I was just going down a fucking hole. Just be straightforward. I just didn't know what I was doing. I would go in thinking I knew what I was doing, and then, man, with the education value that I got, and I would hate to say this, but I think you're charging a lot less than this shit.
Well, I
But no, you're
appreciate that.
doing a good thing. You're doing a good
Yeah.
thing. You're doing a great thing. And I want to thank you again. I'm in the right track, and you always answer my calls if I do have questions. Thank you for continuing to monitoring my deals, because that's very important. Even though I do know what I'm doing, sometimes I just don't have the time to double check the numbers. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, an extra zero is an extra fucking zero, and that, you know, that's a big deal. So I don't want to make that mistake because I didn't spend enough time on it. So yeah, absolutely, I would recommend anybody to you.
That's perfect. Well, I appreciate that for sure. Appreciate the kind words. And then why should someone listening take action now?
Because tomorrow will never come. That's why. If you keep postponing, you know, on making these moves. And let me give you a scenario here.
Please.
I had a house in Illinois, or in Bolingbrook. You know, it was a good deal. I did the math. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make about 25, 30,000. This is perfect. I'm just gonna sleep on it before I put an offer in, just because I had 2 other houses under contract already. And 48 hours later, I called the agent. I called my realtor and I said, oh, I want to make an offer. And they're like, oh, that house is already under contract. I'm like, what the fuck? It was literally just 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, yeah, that's just what happens. So that ate me up because I kept thinking, oh, I lost 30 fucking grand. I fucking knew it. I should have just made the offer. So my advice is, yeah, what are you waiting for? Like, what are you going to wait for? Every day, another house is going under contract. Every day, someone like me, someone like you, someone like whoever's hungry is going to go and get that house before you. What are you going to wait for? You're going to have nothing left. And the ones that you are going to get, the ones that no one wants. So yeah, make a move, man.
There's some truth there. Yeah. Well, especially in your case, I mean, you missed out, and
I missed out,
that's not great, but you missed out, and that's a big check. Like, you missed out, didn't take action, and that's 30 grand. I mean,
I still think about it, but you know, you got to let it go. You got to let it go because you're going to make those mistakes. But I still think about it. 30 grand is 30 fucking grand.
Yeah.
That's a car. That's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. And I know the more you do this, the more you're like, oh, that's just one house I can sell. But no, you can't have that mindset. You got to pile up your money and make bigger moves. You buy 5 at a time. You know what I mean? That still haunts me, I'll be honest. And it's not one time. It's probably 2 or 3 houses I've done the same shit to. Just, yeah. Don't do it. Don't wait.
Don't wait. Don't
fucking do it, man.
That's good advice. Yeah, no, it's one of those things, like, you really miss out. Yeah, well, perfect. Well, hey, I do appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah.
You do have a good story, like, you, from where you were and where you are now. I know, like, sometimes,
Victor, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. It's only been a fucking year, I'll be honest with you. And this is not some golden story. I made 100 grand. So fucking what? But the people, you have to understand, you can make millions doing this. You can make millions. And it's just build up to it. Be, you know, diligent. Like I said, don't wait. That's all it is. Don't wait.
That's spot on. Like, do your first deal, then do many, and then, you know, just go from there. So we can definitely get you to your goals.
Yeah. I think for the people who want to dabble into real estate, like you said, do your first deal and see if it's for you. It might not be. It's not for everybody. Okay, it's not. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It's not. You got to put your time into it, just like anything else. Try that if you like it, and then, you know, shift gears, you know, and really go full force.
Yeah, that's good advice as well. Well, perfect. Well, sounds good. As a wrap up
Great.
here, any final thoughts?
No, thanks for having me. If next time, if we do get a chance to talk, I'll try to present some before and afters.
That'd be cool. Sounds good. Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, buddy. Take it easy. See ya.